Hi, so today I'm going to share about the book I've read before is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. So, a little bit of background on what I've stumbled upon that book. So, when I was in grade 6, we we have a vacation in Valenzuela wherein our other relatives are living there. So there's this one time that I'm really bored and noticed that the book is the only different from the book kasi the other book from from the shelves are all about dinosaurs, then that's the only one about adventure. And so I decided to open it, and I really don't know if this is the original book that I've read. And especially I've remembered that I really read that book because resemb I think that the main character or the cover of the book resembles from the boy in the milk powdered milk Alaska, so that's why I've stumbled upon that book. Yun, so a little continuation. So I really understand now this book because previously in our first semester in our great book subject, I was assigned to report that book. So I kinda read it and somewhat it's kind of familiar. So that's when I realized after I've done my report that that is the one that I've read in Valenzuela, but in a summary form. So actually, this book was a continuation of the sequel, The Adventure of Tom Sawyer, that was also written by Mark Twain. So at the end of the Adventure of Tom Sawyer and Huck or Huckleberry Finn found a large amount of money, wherein it was from a group of robbers or a band of robbers that had hidden in a cave, if I'm not mistaken. So the money is around $6,000. So that's a huge sum money for the boys, which after the after they found the money, they divided in into half, and they decided to go to Judge Tasher and invest their money at the bank. So Huckleberry was adopted by Widow Douglas and her extremely conservative and religious sister, which is Miss Watson. They adopt Huckleberry, but he struggles with their attempts to civilize him, and he always runs away. So Tom persuades him to return, and he does, but Huck isn't happy because Huck thinks that he was being strangled, or he is being confined in a world that education and civilization is the only thing matters in that society. So before Widow Douglas and Miss Watson adopted Huck, he has a father, but his father is a drunkard in their town, and he always beat Huck to get some money for his alcohol addiction. So he was physically abusing Huck, so Huck was always terrified for his life. One morning, he comes across a footprints in the snow outside the widow's Douglas house. So when he looked closer, he realizes that they're his father's footprints. So Huck immediately runs straight to Judge Tasher. So he asked Judge Tasher to take all the money or savings from him. So because he was afraid that his father has only come back for his fortune or for his money. When Huck arrives at Widow Douglas' house, he saw his father waiting for him, and he was kidnapped and put in an isolated cabin near the river. So nobody knows where that isolated cabin was. So in that cabin, Huck was kept and consequently beat by his father again. So he was so scared that his father always come and go drunk in the cabin. He takes all the provisions and tools from the cabin and loads them into the canoe. So then he shoots a wild pig or a wild boar and splatters its blood around the cabin, staging his own murder. So he lives with an axe with blood and a bit of his hair stuck to it and sets off toward Jackson Island in his canoe, wherein after he arrived in the Jackson's Island, he met his his adoptive parents, which is the two sisters, and their slave, which is Jim. Huck remembers Jim that he was one of the slaves that Miss Watson's owned, so he asked Jim what he was doing in the island. So Jim answered him that he just escaped from Miss Watson because he heard that she has a plan to sell Jim from to a factory downtown. So he was scared and straight ran off. He was scared that his family might taken away from him, so that's why Jim escaped from Miss Watson. So after they talk, they decided and agree upon that they will go to the south and help each other. So they travel so many towns, they stop by at so many towns and experience a lot of things or adventures. And then their life changed or their adventure changed when they agreed to help the two men, which is known as a scammer or fraud. So every time they stop by at a town, they always got into trouble, and so that's why their adventures become chaotic. Throughout their adventure, Huck always looks down on Jim because society or the sister taught him that people like Jim are always below them. So he always acknowledges Jim in a rude way, wherein he always calls him the N word. Because in the starting of the story, it is common that the white people have slaves, wherein the slaves are all black Americans. So they are all treated unfairly and they always look down on black people back then. So that's why Huck behaves like that when they were in journey. But then after their long journey, finally acknowledges Jim. Huck's learned that Jim is a good man, and now he sees Jim as his second father because throughout their adventure when they were in trouble, Jim always took care of Huck, and he really cares for Huck. So Jim became friends with Huck, and their relationship throughout their adventure grows. Jim and Huck became friends at the end of the story, and Jim was found out that he was already a free man because not long ago, 2 months ago, Miss Watson died. After Miss Watson's die, in her will it says that if ever she will die, he will grant Jim his freedom to do anything he wants. So basically, Jim is now a free man. So he doesn't need to hide and go to adventure with Huck. While Huck on the other side, after he knows that his friend Jim is now a free man, he decided to travel or had an adventure to the west. So the lesson for this story is that even though you are different in race, skin color, language, or nationality, if friendship strikes you both, then it will become true friendship. True friendship doesn't measure by the things you have done for each other. It's about the real or the true feelings that you are really has a care for that person. After the adventure, Huck understands that the people or the white people are really wicked, or the society itself, because he understands even though at his young age, everything that societies put in their minds or make them believe is not necessarily correct or humane, because he saw how black people were treated and how wicked and cruel the society to the black people. So by that, he break the chain that circling around his mind that black people are below their level. So with this book, it shows that no matter how wicked the society is, if you really believe in yourself and stand on what you believe, you can break the chain and become a free man or free human with his or her own beliefs that society can never take away.